need to be so firm in standing up against hatred in all its forms. I'm particularly concerned about the rise in anti-Semitism that we're seeing because we all have a role to play.
Robert Krajcik reporting for Rebel News here in Ottawa, Ontario, just outside the Ottawa courthouse that you can see behind me. This past weekend, a minor, was arrested and charged with a series of terrorism-related offenses. The RCMP, which executed the search warrant of this youth's home and carried out the arrest, stated that these terrorism charges relate to what they allege was a plot by this youth to target Jewish persons. This youth, the accused, has been charged with 5 crimes related to terrorism. I'll share with you the official RCMP statement right now that lays out the specific charges. So number 1, he was charged with facilitation of a terrorist activity by communicating instructional material related to an explosive substance. He was also charged with knowingly instructing, directly or indirectly, a person to carry out a terrorist activity against Jewish persons. 3 additional charges were laid against this youth this past Monday during proceedings by the Crown. And those charges are knowingly facilitating a terrorist activity by being in possession of explosive substances, possession of explosive substances with intent thereby to endanger life, and possession of explosive substances. In a statement published by the RCMP on Monday, the Federal Law Enforcement Authority warned of a growth in violent extremism. That's an exact quote. They use that term, particularly in relation to Canadian youth. Now, that term, violent extremism, was politically popularized by former President Barack Hussein Obama, who regularly used it in lieu of the term Islamic terrorism. The Obama administration and Democrat Party more broadly at that time and still refused to acknowledge the religious nature, the philosophical or theological motivations of this sort of violent terrorism. And now we're seeing that exact language being used by the RCMP now.
I'm particularly concerned about the rise in anti-Semitism that we're seeing because we all have a role to play in standing against intolerance and anti-Semitism and in supporting people. The concerning situation that led to an arrest in the Ottawa region very recently is something we're going to continue to be vigilant about.
Now, why is this relevant? Because these charges relate to an investigation that began on October 23rd, several weeks after the mass murder attack in southern Israel carried out by Hamas on October 7th. So given this time frame, it's reasonable to infer that this alleged plot that was thwarted by the RCMP relates to a sort of religious, philosophical, theological motivation for Islamic terrorism on the part of the accused. On Monday, Mackenzie Gray from Global News intercepted the father of the accused outside of the Ottawa courthouse, and during a brief little chat, the father of this accused minor told Mackenzie Gray that he had advised his son to stay away from extremists. Mackenzie Gray also investigated online the social media profile of this father and found what he described as derogatory remarks against Jews. We'll keep you folks in our audience up to date with the events of this trial as it unfolds. So follow and share our content. Dear Rebel News audience, if you value this in-the-field reporting that we do, please remember and understand that we depend on your financial support to continue producing it. So please visit rebelfieldreports.com and contribute what you can.